Welcome to Blamestorming. Blamestorming. In a post-truth world, there's plenty of blame to go around. Plenty of blame to go around. Plenty of blame to go around. Join Dave Cyrus and Marissa Smith as they blamestorm about today's hot topics.
Hey guys, how are you? I'm Marissa Smith, and I'm here with the two Daves, you guys. This is going to be super fun. I've got Dave Cyrus with me.
We're the Daves you know.
These are the Daves I know. I also have David Feldman with me.
I'm the good Dave.
He's the good Dave. I've got Evil Dave and Angel Dave, both on my shoulder.
You're objectively a worse person than me.
Why would you say that?
Let's get through the intro.
So I'm Dave Cyrus. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I mean, it's true, but why would you say that?
Well, let's get the intros out. I'm Dave Cyrus. Hi, I'm a comic. I'm a writer, and I don't know. You might, if you've heard of me in any capacity, it might be because I used to do a bunch of videos ambushing hate groups on YouTube. It is the closest thing I've ever gotten to relevant, and I've been a writer for SNL and Comedy Central roasts and Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. That's how I know David. We were both Triumph writers. We're also the only Triumph writers that are not writing for our cartoon president on Showtime.
Is that true?
It's everyone. Oh, it's everyone else we know. It's great. Yeah.
We're not liked. I didn't know that.
Well, it's true.
And you heard it here first.
Why is that? Why do they hate us, Dave?
Because you refuse to write packets, for one.
Oh.
Because you despise the industry and refuse to play along with it in any way.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, introduce yourself.
My name is David Feldman. I'm a comedy writer, and my phone should just ring. I shouldn't have to ask for work. People should just know I'm funny, and I shouldn't have to go into an office. I should just be allowed to write on my couch, and people should just be grateful that I'm writing for them, and they should hand me a paycheck.
You probably can't tell through the audio, but David Feldman is the world's oldest living working comedian. How many times were you on MTV's half-hour comedy hour?
A lot.
Yes, many times.
And I was old back then.
He was the old guy on MTV's half-hour comedy hour.
And that
He was
20...
the diversity spot.
Yeah,
Because
he was both Jewish and balding. So yes,
this was like 20 years ago, and they kept putting me on, and they kept saying, you're the oldest person we've ever put on MTV.
And by 20 years ago, he means 28 years ago.
Was it 28 years ago?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
You may be right.
I don't think there was.
Do you remember me on that?
Yes, well, I was a fan of yours.
Really?
Yes. You were the guy who always seemed like you were going to be straight-laced, and then you just started saying things that made you think you're just a mentally ill person in a nice suit.
Yes. I didn't know you knew me as a stand-up.
Yeah.
Wow.
What else would I have known you as? I recognized you when I met you. What possible reason could I have known? You've never had a real acting job.
Yeah.
You hadn't at that point won any awards.
Right.
How would I have possibly known who you were aside from stand-up? I saw you from Satiristas. I saw you in before that. No, but the thing, I knew who you were when I saw you at Satiristas, so it had to be from MTV because you've never been on TV in any other capacity.
I've been on TV.
And I knew who you were. So I'm actually confusing myself right now, trying to figure out how I could have known who you were.
What about all my Conan shots?
I guess. I don't watch Conan. I mostly only watched the first 15 minutes of Conan.
What about on Cops, when my wife had me arrested several times?
Oh, so that was you.
Well, yes. I like to take my shirt off and have my face digitized.
Oh,
Yes.
I thought that was the bath salts, but
He was the only person. He was the only person on Cops where the digitization actually reached his hair plugs. It was the whole head. Not because they had to. Oh yeah, because otherwise everyone would know your identity.
Yes. Bath salts. Yes.
yes, bath salts. So I feel like this is going to get confusing. Like, should I call you Dave 1, Dave 2? How do you guys
I'm
normally
Dave,
do this?
And he's David.
Okay, so David.
Because I grew up.
How about Jewish Dave and Jewish Dave?
Yeah, this is not getting easier. I always go by Dave, and my professional name is Dave Cyrus because as a kid, my uncle's boyfriends were always named David.
Okay.
Every time his name was David, and it taught me as a young child that if your name is David, you're David if you're gay and Dave if you're straight.
Okay.
And actually that is actually kind of hard and fast rule.
You can call me Dr. Feldman.
Okay.
because I'm considered the joke dentist in a writing room.
Okay.
There's, there
All
are
the fillings?
joke doctors. I'm the joke dentist.
Okay. Are you like orthodontist, periodontist? What's your specialty?
Investing in pornography, which is how most dentists make their money. It's true. When gold is up, because most dentists buy gold,
Right.
and when they have to sell their gold because it's peaking, they invest in pornography.
What?
Yeah.
How do you invest in pornography?
Well, there was a time when pornography was profitable.
Okay. I mean, like they would produce pornography?
They would put money into pornography.
That's true. There is no money in it anymore.
No.
Internet.
The market has crashed in porno. It's just, there's no value whatsoever anymore.
Well, it's the studio system that disappeared. In my day, porn stars were trained by the studio in all the fine arts of lovemaking, and now everybody just thinks they're a porn star. They're not.
Yeah. Early days of porn when everyone had to have those morality clauses and the studio would control your lives.
The cursing,
Yeah.
by the way.
The what?
The cursing in porn these days.
Yeah. You know what I hate is the spitting.
Yes.
I think it's very rude. There's a lot of spitting in porn now, and I find it takes me right out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you do have to like have a spitting consent. If you should consent to a spit if it's going to happen, because it is rude. I think it's like the same thing as like if you're about to shoot a load in someone's eye, like give a warning if you're going to do it.
Right. And no, there's a lot of things where like there's a very anything goes attitude in sex sometimes. Like Marissa, you're black and we're white, so I just want to make sure people know before I ask this. Have you ever had like a white guy you were having sex with like cross a line? Because I have so many black female friends who have said that like white guys and vice versa, like that they think that the rules are suspended during sex.
By the way, I just want to say that I don't see you as black or white or man or woman or human.
Dr. Feldman doesn't see color.
I don't see race, gender, species. I just see human beings. Very politically correct.
Okay. So Dave, has anybody?
You didn't answer his question.
I'm about to. I was
sorry.
listening to you about your species. So has anybody crossed a line? I would say that I've had. I haven't had anybody use the N-word. I think that's what you're going for.
No,
But,
not necessarily.
For him, the
it
N-word
wasn't
is-
open-ended because I have
But-
different
For
examples.
him, the N-word is no.
But but
I
I
got one on the
definitely
board.
Oh boy.
I definitely have had someone say like I'm your slave, which I thought was weird.
You're their slave? Or
No,
they're your
that
slave?
they're my slave.
Oh, so they're like that's a real like that's kind of trying too hard. Kind of like I'm
Yeah.
not racist. I'm the slave.
Yeah. So like, and that was kind of like, I don't know what's happening here.
I've actually said to women, "You own me."
Yeah, he said that too.
Yeah, I mean, but is that a because I've said that just the power that this woman has over me, you own me, is kind of, I guess that's wrong to say that to.
Well, I think it's specific to new interracial coupling is when it might be a little inappropriate
Right.
to make slavery references. Now, actually, I wasn't getting at specifically like that word. I actually was going to say like because here's what when I have dated black girls. Here's what actually now that I think about it right now, I'm realizing is it okay that once we're having sex, it's now okay for me to touch her hair? Because I know not to do that,
Right.
But I've never asked once the sex starts if that's okay. Is that okay?
Did
No.
she just get her hair done that day?
Not the kind of girls I date.
Okay. Like because if it's like fresh hair.
I'm not messing it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as it's not like fresh hair or like if she's just like got a weave put in, then that's going to be uncomfortable. But like, yeah, I think
I'm not
that's-
pulling. I'm being respectful. I just
No, like a new weave just touching is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable in itself.
Okay.
It's tight. It gets real tight. But yeah, I think that it's fine. I think it's just like that's kind of like lost in a moment kind of thing. That's not like like saying something inappropriate. Plus, if you're already having sex, like you're touching bodies, like it's at that point everybody's kind of into it. I think that it's like when people say weird shit, then I think it's kind of like, oh, what is that?
Yeah, a very good record of not bringing race into this sex, into the dirty talk at the very least.
Then that's why you're the good Dave. Go on.
Yes.
That's why I'm a fan of silent porn, the old black and white. When talkies came into being in the late 20s.
Like
Did you still have to crank those?
Yeah, well, I was cranking something.
Yes.
But,
he's a big Hedy Lamarr fan.
I just think silent porn was better because you never had to worry about what they were saying. Mm-hmm. But this was before your time.
Because now you gotta be worried about who's listening, who overhears you, because they could use bad language.
I mean, I guess you could do the same with like foreign porn because you don't know what they're saying either. But
Well, they dub it.
oh, do they?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, they have people from other countries putting things in women's mouths. Words, but... Okay, help me out there. Help me.
I like how this is so far from the show, Marissa. And Vic.
Okay, let's... I'm sorry, am I ruining it?
No,
desperately
no.
far from the show she wanted to have. That I really
No,
enjoying that.
it's fine. It's fine. We'll get there. We're on the topic of porn, and while we're talking about porn, so we have two women that came out, like, in the last couple of days, saying that they had affairs with Donald Trump, Stormy Daniels, and then a
Playboy model.
Yeah, Playboy model, and allegedly their affairs both were around the same time, 2006. Also, while Melania was either pregnant or just had.
Right. It seems like his cheating did spike around her pregnancy, which is kind of exactly what you'd expect of him. I bet he does consider pregnant women gross.
Yeah, probably.
And
even though he looks like a pregnant woman, but
yeah. Well, he actually looks more like a woman giving birth because he's so flushed. He's got that glow of like a woman who's like in the middle of labor. He had we can curse, right?
Yeah.
So he fucked a porn star and this other girl. Now I wonder if
without
they're mad.
protection.
Well, I mean,
When he said, like, the Secret Service wasn't there?
No, like he wasn't wearing a condom.
yeah. Well, she's a porn star, so
Yeah, but,
she's
like-
clean. Obviously, she wouldn't have her job if she was if she was dirty. There's the funny thing about the porn story is that I wonder if they're mad at each other because it overlapped. If they all thought that they were his only mistress. And by the way, we know you saw the story of why she broke up with him, the Playboy one.
He was a racist.
What he yeah. You heard what he said specifically in a limo to one of her friends?
Oh, something like her friend, like Big Black Cock or something like that?
Yes. She mentioned having a black boyfriend, and he said, you just like big black dick. Here's the thing about that. Every single one of his fans thinks that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, they think that's witty. Because it's like, that's part of why they love him so much, is because they feel like he's bringing back just being the classless piece of shit.
Right.
And they all kind of resent the world and the way it's changing, and that, that's not what everyone considers funny anymore. Even though that was never really what like a comedian thought was funny. That's what your
That's like
your,
NASCAR.
That's what your drunken
Walmart
stepdad
funny.
thinks is funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's he also called her mother an old hag because they're the same age.
Yeah. I
was-
think that's what really pissed her off.
Yeah, but she has every right to bring up the big black dick line too, because it's just so utterly believable.
Yeah, but I also don't believe that she's going to be that offended by that herself.
Well, we don't know. No, it's an offensive thing to say to your friend's face. It's one thing to say it like in mixed company. It's another thing to say to the face of the person who's dating that man. It's so dehumanizing to say that eye to eye. It's a shitty joke, but when you're in front, he's the kind of person who, like, he will say things that other people might say in private, but he'll say it to your face and make it not fun. Make it not there's nothing tongue-in-cheek about it to him.
Right.
People think it's funny because it sounds tongue-in-cheek, and it's not. He actually feels this way. He actually does believe that the only reason a white woman would date a black man is because she has a giant penis fetish.
Right.
So I think
what the thing with Trump is, and this culture, is when you hear it for the first time, you go, or I do, I go, well, that's not that horrible. But everything with Trump, well, it's not that horrible. And then you say, well, would you allow your children to say that? Would you say it? And then you begin to, oh, no. But they've worn me down to the point where I'm just saying, it's not the worst thing in the world. But when you add it all up, this is the worst thing in the world. And this is a man who, by the way, grabs women by the pussy. Mm-hmm. He pays these women $10,000, $15,000.
Well, actually, both the porn star and the Playboy model both said he tried to pay me, but I said no.
Right.
Right.
And then he pays them $130,000 to be quiet, not just to protect Melania, but probably to protect him because you know that it's not natural, normal sex. There's some urination involved and something
scatological.
Yes.
Possible. It's possible. I'm not gonna guarantee that. I'm not gonna say I know.
You think he's capable of normal and good Christian sex?
Well, the fact that he's cheating might be the part that makes it worth it for him.
But don't you think he's into...
I think he just doesn't want Ivanka to find out. I don't think he gives a shit about Melania finding out, but his daughter is going to be real pissed at him, and that's going to turn her off.
I mean,
I think
we need to let go of this idea that Ivanka has a soul. Everyone keeps projecting their own sense of morality on all the women in this White House as if they're all just these put upon poor. No, these people all chose to be part of this.
No, I mean, like if
Tiffany,
Ivanka found out
yeah.
that he was cheating on her, that she would stop banging him. That's what I was going to say. I'm not saying that she has a soul.
Oh, it was an incest joke.
Yeah,
okay.
that was an incest joke.
Well, she's a KGB agent or FSB. This is a fact that Ivana, the first wife, is from Czechoslovakia.
Right.
She was sent over to be Trump's handler by the KGB. And then after the fall of the Soviet Union, they passed it on to Melania, who is from Slovenia.
Yeah, I believe so.
And that was an Eastern European Iron Curtain country. And she's a handler for Putin.
Well, he's been trying to get involved with Russia since the 80s with, like, Reagan when he was trying to be, like, some sort of, like, attaché between the U.S. and the Soviet Union.
Well, anytime there's strife in the world, he just announces that he could fix it because he's a malignant narcissist. He said the same thing about Israel and Palestine over and over again. I can easily fix it. I can just send me to negotiate. I mean, he was always, everyone growing up, I don't know everyone, but I mean, I certainly know what it's like to recognize a narcissist with a coke problem. Now, I'm not saying he does coke. He just acts like it.
I will.
He acts like it. I don't think he does coke. I think I have heard that.
Yeah, he's got a lot.
He sniffs a lot, and he also
sniffs a lot.
I think it's probably more likely amphetamine poisoning. That he's just getting prescription amphetamines for weight loss. That was a big story. 20 years ago he was taking fen-phen.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he does act like someone with amphetamine poisoning because if you look at the symptoms of it, it's lack of focus, lack of sleep, paranoia, grandiosity.
Sounds like a cokehead.
It lines up a lot. I mean, well, they're the same. They work the same in the brain. I'm not, like I said,
He has a brain?
I doubt that it's straight up cocaine. I don't think that the president is. Not that I put it past him. I find it a little harder to believe that the president is scoring coke every day at the White House because otherwise he never would have fired Bannon.
That's true because Bannon would be the one.
Bannon would definitely have been the guy to get it for him.
Right.
So that I'm going to say just
yeah.
I don't know. Hope Hicks looks like she's a resourceful gal. I think she could get a baggie or two, an 8-ball when he needs one. I don't know. I think, and Bannon, I feel like he would have had a heart attack by now if he was like rolling in the coke. Like
that's what they say. I mean, don't forget he's also 36 years old, so he doesn't look great for his age.
Bannon?
Yeah, isn't he?
No.
I thought I was 3 years older than Steve Bannon.
You're thinking of Kushner.
No, I was thinking of Steve Bannon. No, Steve Bannon it was a joke. He just looks like garbage. But also,
he looks like garbage defecated more garbage.
Some people are just able to survive it longer than others.
He looks like some prom queen had a baby in a dumpster and somebody found it and decided to adopt the garbage around the baby.
He looks like if you could brine a person. He looks like something syphilis would get. He looks like somebody was dared to live in the salt flats for a few years.
He looks like a tumor on an elephant's ass.
He looks like a fart that lived.
Great head of hair.
Yes. That's not fair.
Fantastic head of hair.
Yeah.
This is true.
By the way, I honestly, though, we're being very childish about this, and like this is why he hates literally every Jew on earth, because people like us are making fun of him, and we're trying to take the high road, but we're making these insults, and this is why maybe it is you and me's fault that he desperately wanted to keep his kids from going to school with Jews.
He did.
He did.
That's
He
true.
did.
Yeah.
It is
He
true.
wanted to know a list of how many Jews his daughters were going to school with, and he wanted to know why there was so much Jew literature.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course there was that article. What was it in? Was it the Federalist? Someone had an article about how all Jews agree that Jewish children are the worst. There was an article about that, defending the idea of not wanting your kids to go to school with Jews and just doing a bunch of Jap jokes.
You sure it wasn't Breitbart?
I'm sure it was Breitbart.
Yeah.
I think it's you don't want your kids going to school with kids who have Jewish parents. I think that's the.
Yeah.
Let's not promulgate stereotypes.
I'm not trying to. It's I mean, the guy did not. I don't
If
think
it makes you feel any better, I'm sure he doesn't want his kids going to school with black people either.
It does make me feel better, actually.
You're
a lot
welcome.
better. Fortunately, that wasn't an issue with the private schools he was sending them to begin with. Otherwise, I'm sure we would have heard about it. I'm sure, these were L.A. expensive private schools, so I'm sure there were black students, but like...
They were the adopted kids of Steven Spielberg.
Oh, God, yeah. This is going in an interesting direction. But yeah, they were also probably like, everyone knew their name.
Yes.
And they pretended it's because they liked them. So anyway, yeah, whole cabinet sucks.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
So
Especially, I'm going to go back to the Hope Hicks business, and so like I guess like her boo just got fired.
Porter, right?
Yeah.
Rob Porter was of course fired for revelations that he beat his wife, and they were ignoring that. The FBI told them last year, over like 7 months ago, that he beat his wife, and they didn't do anything about it because they said we were still investigating. That
Right.
was the White House's line. They said, well, our investigation wasn't over.
Yeah, the investigation was, well, did she burn the dinner or not?
And it was, yes, they wanted evidence. And that investigation would have wrapped up shortly after Trump was no longer in office.
It
Yeah.
would be, the reason the shooter in Florida slipped through the cracks and the FBI didn't investigate is they were so busy trying to get security clearance for all these wife beaters in the Oval Office. That's what Trump won't talk about.
Right.
He talks about the Russian investigation clogging the wheels.
Look, the FBI can only do one thing at a time, obviously.
Yeah.
So
There's only 5 agents.
By the way, has anyone tried using this in a trial yet? I'm being serious about this. From this point onward, why isn't every person up on federal charges saying that the FBI is a fake organization that's just trying to, grind axes? Like, why isn't every single person on federal charges using the same argument that the FBI cannot be trusted?
Well,
And why isn't
but-
Trump
but-
considering just releasing every single person convicted in federal court?
Well, the thing is, when he goes to trial, if he ever does, he won't be able to use that defense. This is all propaganda. This is not like legal reasoning.
It's also not the first time the FBI wasn't trusted. I mean, the FBI wasn't trusted in like the 60s during like the civil rights movement, and they had like all sorts of dossiers, and
You could trust them to kill Fred Hampton. Nothing.
Well, we're talking about. We're talking about the tail end of Hoover, right?
Right.
We're certainly not, defending the way Hoover ran that organization, but at the same time, it's like it's the same exact argument as every guy who is arrested for assaulting someone bringing up Eric Garner. Like you cannot say that because that cop was evil, because that cop did something wrong, that you are innocent, because we can't not have law enforcement.
right.
No matter how bad people are at it, you have to still have law enforcement.
And as bad as J. Edgar Hoover was, he took responsibility.
And looked mighty fine in a dress. Go
I
on.
was going to say, you knew who wore the dress in that organization. There was no.
Nice.
He was a good, wholesome Christian. Him and Clyde Tolson, they shared a bed, but yes, I defend the FBI.
I wonder
right
which
now.
one was the bottom.
Oh, had to be Hoover, because I mean he was that. You got to figure.
You know why he was called Hoover?
Nice, very good.
Because he.
You don't have to finish it. Everyone knows where this is going.
Vacuum, we get it.
Yes, because he
Sucked a
'cause
cock.
he was related to- just couldn't let it go, huh? Just can't trust the people listening to fill in the gaps. We're gonna spoon feed it that badly.
Yes, the way Clyde Tolson spoon-fed 10 cc's to J. Edgar. You know what the J stood for?
What did it stand
Jism. Did you know that? Go ahead.
for? I love how much this is lining up with the show you wanted.
I want to be political.
She said,
we're
"Get your
getting
most
there.
political comedian."
We're doing it. We're doing
Yeah.
it. We're easing into it.
I'm political.
Now, here's the thing about Hope Hicks. Hope Hicks has now dated 2 people in the White House with photographic history of assaulting women, right?
Right. So it's
Corey
Lewandowski and then
And Rob Porter, both people who we have seen photographs of bruises
Kardashian
that they gave
said
women.
to her, Kardashian said, I said black guys, not black eyes, black guys. Is that funny?
Sure. So
No.
here's
I'm
my.
just drinking water.
This is a really weird question, but like, do you think that Trump is bothered by a woman in his White House dating multiple men in a sort of, do you think he's jealous? Whether he likes her or not, do you think he gets jealous that she would settle for men who are not him? If she's like dating multiple men in the White House? Because don't you get the impression he's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, where no matter what the girl looks like, he just has to have her if he's in his house?
Well, I'm sure that he's getting a side of that also. I just think that
Side of it.
I just think that it's just like, I think she's just basically like, you know, like a side dish for like everybody. Like Lewandowski was married, and like I think that
He was dating her while they were married? He
yeah,
was married?
they were
Wow.
married, and then I guess like the whole affair blew up because they got into like a fight out in the streets, like in front of Trump Tower, and like there was like media around, and like so then I guess the wife found out about it, and I don't know if he's completely divorced or just separated, but he was married when she started the affair with him, and then I think Porter just recently got divorced, or
And also, Lewandowski's wife considered Lewandowski grabbing that woman by the arm and dragging her to the ground as cheating.
it's like, what, you burnt his dinner too?
She was a journalist for Breitbart.
She was.
I'm just
Then
saying.
they attacked her
Yeah.
for daring to be for not covering it up. I mean, that's what Breitbart did. They
It was Ben Shapiro's only good moment. Didn't he quit Breitbart?
yes, actually.
He actually had a good moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, once you're working for Breitbart, you know, you seem like you're putting on a bit of an air when you act like you have a
moral compass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of what happened with Trump in general is we're watching all these people move the scoreboard of their own morality every day just to not be wrong. And it's actually like, I was saying this earlier today, if this were a movie, you would swear that Trump was created to destroy the party. He's almost like a blueprint of how can you destroy a party by leading these people so far off a cliff that there's no chance of getting back to it by the time they realize that they're in the sky. Because that's sort of what he does. Every day, he forces people who want to not admit they were wrong to endorse him to agree that something else is okay.
Right.
And
Don't you think Putin owns the Republican Party? You think he just stopped with Trump? Don't you? It's pretty cheap. That trolling farm only cost $1.2 million a month.
Right.
So you can tell me Putin, who is supposedly the richest man on the planet, he can't afford to buy the entire Republican Party? You think he...
if you wrote...
it doesn't stop with Trump, but it didn't start with Trump because, like, the troll farming started in 2014. But
And you would not believe that as a story if you heard it. You would think it's a shitty script to say that that Russia is going to install that guy and be able to basically make us a puppet government, a client state where we're practically Cleopatra after the Romans took over Egypt. Just you are the quote leader, but you're not the leader. You're a garrison. You're just there to keep the other. You're just
You're
there
a puppet
to
with
talk about how
Putin's
great
hand up
Rome.
your ass.
Yeah, how great
And
Rome
by
is.
the way, as a Republican, I support getting rid of the estate tax, or as I call it, the death tax, because I know a lot of family troll farms that had to give up the troll farm because they couldn't afford to pay the death tax. So
Right, and that's one of our biggest, parts of our economy now is the troll farm.
yeah.
Is the thousands of Macedonian and Russian teenagers who just start fights. We were talking about this the other day about after the school shooting, the Parkland one, because obviously by the time this gets on
You
the
had
air,
to have you had to differentiate.
well,
between
yeah, I
school
mean, you
shootings.
can't just say the school shooting.
It's like, which one?
Yeah, Russia jumped in with a bunch of trolls. They said, okay, this is opportunity. Let's jump in there. Let's start getting people angry. Let's start defending, the Second Amendment because, Russia really cares about if the Americans have the right to bear arms. And, I mean, it's just one of those things that's one of those things, that's the goalpost of your morality. If you're okay with that, that means what is the Republican Party going to criticize people for doing later? What are they going to have against people? What are they going to say when they're running against someone? Oh, well, I'd be better because you are blank. Because they've already said it's okay to be accused of molesting multiple children. They've already said that it's okay to just be an absolute classless bully, a lowlife, a con man. They don't really have – that's what I'm saying. It's like he was designed to destroy the party because when this is over, there's going to be nothing left of them.
No, I disagree with you. Because when you're protecting money, which is what the Republican Party has always been about, you can say anything. Like Roy Moore, was he convicted of anything?
No.
Where's his due process? I'm not for child molestation, but if he's never been arrested, was Trump ever arrested?
No.
No. So he's innocent in this country. In this country, you're innocent until proven guilty. That's what the Republicans are going to say.
Right. Well, I mean, we're living in a post-reality world.
Post-truth.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not just truth. It's everything.
People will say anything to protect what they have. That's what the Republican Party has shown us. They're, as they've said before, when you talk about money, God leaves the room. And they're a godless party because all they care about is money. So people say and believe anything to keep what they have and get more.
And there's something occurring in the Republican Party. And look, we have a problem across the board with honesty. I think the left has grown less honest over time in congruence with the rest of the world, but it's not even on the scale of how much the right lies consistently. Because the right is now truly experimenting with just manipulating groupthink. They're truly experimenting with the 1984 idea that if you tell people to just say we were never at war with them, we weren't. Mm-hmm. And, liberals lie by being misleading and taking sides, and then but I mean but no one has ever experienced this idea that you can just say the words fake news, and even though there's a video of you saying the exact thing you never said, a high percentage of people will force their minds to not believe what they saw
and think that the video was doctored, and that it's just that's the thing that I think is so crazy.
A lot of people.
You have evidence that to prove that this person is lying, but then everyone thinks that the evidence is now the lie. But I kind of think, going back to David's point, is that when you're kind of saying the Republican Party is godless, I always find it so interesting that the evangelicals still are holding on to him, even though so many things are coming out that are against their quote unquote beliefs. And I mean, I'm sure that some of them have money, but they don't have the 1%er money.
Well, their leaders have money,
and they listen to them.
Franklin Graham Jr., Jerry Falwell Jr. These are the sons of these leaders who had to inherit their father's business because they couldn't make it on their own. They went into their father's business, and they early on sidled up next to Donald Trump, and they're giving him mulligans.
Well,
family.
yeah.
James Dobson's group was, what are they called? The family.
Focus on the family.
Focus on the family.
Well, the evangelicals that are giving Trump carte blanche and just saying that their morality that they apply to every other politician doesn't apply to him, those are the evangelicals that it was always just about the authoritarianism. It was never about any of the things Jesus said. These are Old Testament evangelicals. They just wanted a daddy to tell them what to do and to let them take their hands off the wheel of life. And because it's very comforting to be told the world is significantly simpler than you think it is. And that's what he does for those people. And it just shows that everyone who the argument we had about evangelicals with Bush was the same one. It was, if you really believe in Jesus, why would you want us to be so warlike? Why would you want these? And the criticism, I mean, every criticism of the Republican Party of the hypocrisy is something that exploded under Trump. I mean, there was a line in SNL during the primaries that one of the jokes that I got into one of the primary sketches was, I think it was maybe Ted Cruz saying, what Donald Trump is doing is wrong. The Republican Party does not say racist things. We imply them over decades of policy and racism.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he was blowing up their spot.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's made the point that he is the monster that grew out of the pile of shit they were throwing. That because they thought that, it's like the first, like when a new religion exists, the people who created it obviously knew it was fake. But then when you start having leaders that actually believe it, that's the second wave. And that's what Trump is. Trump is someone who actually believed all the propaganda that they said, oh, these are just things we need to say to manipulate certain people because it's for their best interest. Now, those Republicans, they truly believe it's in their best interest. They do believe they're doing something right for the people because they believe, well, we lie because we have to win. And if we don't win, then everyone's going to die. So everything we do is okay because we're saving the world from, the you-know-whats of the world because they believe that we're going to be in chaos. And they hate the idea of losing. That's why they're willing to just go along with whatever. Because at the end of the day, I'm surprised Trump has never said this quote, but it's the quote from Hitler of when it doesn't matter what you do in an election. Because if you lose, it doesn't matter what you did. No one cares. And if you win, there's no one to answer to. Mm-hmm. And that's sort of the kind of scorched earth policies they're going with now, is whatever we do is worth it. Now, I'm not here to say that Donald Trump is like Hitler, because that's just a hacky thing to say.
And Hitler knew something. He had taste when it came to architecture.
Yeah, that's one of the differences. But at the same time, I've had, when you make references to Trump, I don't tend to call him Hitler, but he is a fascist. He does believe in fascism. I've had people say,
Baby Mussolini?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very close to Mussolini, much more.
Mussolini had more hair.
Yeah. But the kind of argument where when you call him, you say, well, you can't make references to that. You say, well, why have you been telling my whole life never again? Why as a Jew have I heard never again if when we see evidence of it, we ignore it? And the person said, they're like, well, you can't compare what he's doing to marching people into ovens. And I said, when you said never again, did you mean wait until the people are actually in the ovens? Is that how far we're supposed to? We have to wait till it's already happened?
Oh, I think Godwin's law, which says you lost the argument when you compare somebody to Hitler, that law has been
it stipulates
repealed.
It stipulates that no one could possibly be Hitler. All these arguments that they use against criticizing Trump are all arguments that mean at their base there is no such thing as right and wrong. When they say that, well, you're partisan, you're liberal, this is the way people talk about their president, what you're saying is it's impossible for a president to deserve criticism because everything ends up being – it's just relativism. It's clinging to relativism. You mention anything about Trump and they just bring up Hillary as if – I've never in my life heard the person who lost an election brought up every fucking day by the person who won it. It doesn't exist. It's something that they're just okay with.
No one remembers second place.
How often did Barack Obama bring up John McCain?
Like, never.
Or George W. Bush, who really gave him a shit sandwich to deal with when he took over. Two wars and a depression.
Yeah, and the argument they'll have then is, oh, well, look at all the money Obama spent. Yeah, why is that? You're comparing money he spent in the middle of a gigantic depression to money that Trump spent when he inherited an amazing economy because a guy who's supposed to, his one thing he's supposed to be good at is understanding financial matters, doesn't understand why you don't try to have a stimulus during an economic upturn. He doesn't even understand the concept of overheating an economy, which, is going to backfire. And
Are you talking about the infrastructure bill?
Yeah. I'm saying that in general, the amount
the
of money.
stimulus, like with the tax cuts and all of
tax
that.
cuts, all the money that he's trying to pump into the economy.
Tax cuts are not stimulus.
But that's what they're calling them.
That's what they're calling
but
it.
It's a lie. Tax
of
cuts
course.
do not stimulate. Reagan proved that they don't do anything for the economy. It's like a little bump. And Kennedy's tax cuts didn't go into effect until Johnson was president. They always say, well, Kennedy gave us a tax cut. Yeah, it went into effect under Johnson, and Johnson blew up the economy with... Anyway, go ahead.
Well, the only reason Johnson gets credit for that is because Ted Cruz's father...
killed Kennedy.
Right.
Killed Kennedy, yeah. I don't know. And it is crazy, but, like, we're talking about a president that said that there were good people that are Nazis, but...
Well, he doesn't consider them Nazis. And actually, he said, who even knows what the KKK believes in anymore? Because...
They believe in him.
Well, there's two major reasons why he needs to defend the KKK. One, doesn't want to lose their votes. And two, his fucking father was in the KKK. It's not.
Right.
That's not a theory. That's not slander. He was in 2 newspapers getting arrested in full Klan gear.
Was he in Klan gear?
One newspaper listed him as the people getting arrested, and the other newspaper said only costumed Klan members were arrested.
Okay.
At the same event. They had his name and his address.
And this was actually in New York City, like
Yes.
or in Madison Square Garden, or the old Madison
It was
Square Garden.
marching against Italians and the Irish, because that's how long ago we're talking. This is pre-civil rights era.
This is the father or the grandfather?
Father.
The father.
The father, Fred.
Fred Phelps
Yeah.
marched
Fred
against...
Trump.
I said Fred Phelps. That's funny. Fred Trump marched against Irish and Italian Catholics. Now, people have said, well, what if he was there fighting the KKK? Well, one article said they only arrested KKK. And also, you expect me to believe that a German Protestant was on the other side of this, that he was getting protested. And let's not forget, it's not like Fred Trump has a great record with racism either. He's in 2 Woody Guthrie songs about not letting black people live in his neighborhood.
Right.
Woody Guthrie called him by his name. There was a song that is a sitcom joke. I think it was in a sitcom before it happened. I think I can't remember which one, but I'm dying to remember there was a God, I wish I could remember what show it was, but there was a joke exactly like that about like, oh yeah, he's so racist. In fact, his father was in folk songs about how much he hated black people. I think it was Arrested Development. I can't remember, but the point is, Trump worships his father because his mother didn't love him, according to all the articles I read, and defending the KKK is defending that his father was perfect.
Well, he does not have a face a mother could love.
Well, he was cute back in the day.
That's all relative.
He was handsome. He was hey, look. What did I say about the liberals lying too? We are not going to get anywhere until you can sit here and acknowledge that Donald Trump as a young man was extremely fuckable. We have to live in the truth.
You can fuck him if you want to, Dave.
You're telling me. Have you seen him as a young man? He was a very, very handsome piece of shit.